Well, quite a very historic occasion here in Maputo. 42 years ago, I mean, this happened in 1981, a very heinous attack where the MK members were gunned down by the Apartheid forces in about 3 transit houses. So today it's about remembering them, but also it is a day of friendship between South Africa and Mozambique. The Freedom Park has been at the center of making sure that today's proceedings do get underway. So it's quite a very long program. It's going to be characterized by a number of festivities around the cemetery where these heroes have been buried, but also we're expecting also a main lecture by Justice Albisek, someone who knows Maputo very well. Joining us now is Freedom Park CEO Jane Mufamadi. Jane, thank you so much indeed for your time. And I mean, it's exactly 42 years where we know that this attack really shocked the world. I mean, these apartheid raids, whether you think about Maseru, Gaborone, Matola here in Maputo, tell us about the significance of this occasion.
I think occasions such as today serves to remind us that our freedom was not free, that blood was shed for us to be free in South Africa. But it also reminds us that during our darkest hour of need, we had friends who sacrificed themselves, their infrastructure and even their people, because one of the victims of Matola is a Mozambican national. So we want South Africans, but we want the nation to know and remember so that we cherish and preserve the freedom that we have today, because it came at a cost.
And also, I do understand that you're going to be honoring some of the South Africans who have been buried here, the likes of Ruth First, among others. And later on, we expect this lecture by Justice Sachs.
Yes, we will be honoring, because in Langwena Cemetery, where the victims of Matola raid are buried, there are also other South Africans who are liberation fighters who were also buried there. One being Ruth First, who died through a letter bomb at the Eduardo Mondlane University. So later, after these festivities, not festivities per se, but the commemoration at the center, we will move to the Eduardo Mondlane University, where we're going to pay our respect at the Ruth First Memorial, but also to see the center, the Center for African Studies, where Ruth First was working. And we are working with the university also to turn that into the library, where Freedom Park will assist the university to establish the center as a fully fledged library for African studies. Later on then, within the university still, that is when the main lecture, which is the main proceedings for the day, will be hosted by the university, and our key speaker being Justice Albisek.
And just before we let you go, Jane, I mean, we're speaking about the importance of the Freedom Park being quite a very important custodian in this regard, in terms of retracing our history, but making sure that people do remember that the attainment of freedom in 1994 did not come in a silver platter.
Yes, I think what people don't understand is that Freedom Park's mandate stretches beyond South Africa. We're tracing the footsteps, especially through the Resistance and Liberation Heritage Route project, which our Department of Sport, Arts and Culture is spearheading. We are at the center of that initiative, and that is why we move across, because weaving the story of liberation for South Africa enjoins us to really give and tell the story in full. And that story can never be complete if we don't talk about countries like Mozambique, countries like Botswana, Zimbabwe, Angola, and many others. And that is what Freedom Park is trying to do. We engage in dialogue, but we retrace the steps. But we also know that many of our loved ones are buried still in these countries, like here in Matola. These people, their remains may never see home, South Africa, so they're here. So it's also important for us as South Africans to come here and pay our respect and remember them. But again, because today is the day of friendship, to solidify and strengthen the relationships with these countries. They were there for us during our hour of need. I think when there are challenges in Africa, in the continent or in SADC, it is our responsibility also as South Africans to intervene and assist, because we were assisted also.
All right, Jane Mufamadi, of course, the CEO of Freedom Park, and she speaks about intervention. We do know that Mozambique currently is facing terror attacks in the northern part of this country in Cabo Delgado, and there's a SADC mission that is currently deployed there. And South Africa is one of those countries that has contributed the troops to try and pacify that part of Mozambique. But by all means, it's a very historic day, also a day of friendship between South Africa and Mozambique. It was declared in 1982 by the ANC president at the time, Oliver Tambo, to solidify ties between Mozambique and South Africa. Khayelihle Khumalo, SABC News, Maputo, Mozambique.